Hey everybody, this is Martin Steed, and I am here with my favorite. There is only one, and that is the doctor, the one who truly is the visionary whisperers for generations. We're talking about none other than Dr. Johnnetta Cole, PhD, phenomenal sister with superpowers, one that I love. So I'm saying it out loud and
Mhm.
very proud to say it. How are you today?
After what you have said, I am floating. But you know, the admiration, the respect is mutual. So it's a joy to do this with you, to have some special time with my bro on a day that is getting close to the day when I will move on from my leadership roles at NCNW. So thank you. Thank you for doing this.
I have admired and you have inspired me forever as a obviously a Morehouse graduate and a person who admired. But you've been the whisperers for those all the generations that clearly you've touched with your leadership. You are the best of your generation that has moved, and for all of those that are walking in your very pathway that you've cut for us, what would you say to us that it's our job to do as we reflect and continue to carry the torch that you've lit inside of us?
Mm. Well, let's open that question so that it includes 401 years of history and her story. More heroes and sheroes than we're able to count. And so the only way to appropriately respond to your question is to put it in the context, not of me, but all of us. All of us. And yes, I do get chill bumps. I do get emotional each time I think of how long this struggle has been for women's rights, for civil rights, for human rights. And here I am in the last act of my life, and you've heard me say it before, I don't want the curtain to come down anytime soon. But at 85 years of age, oh, how I would love to see us get closer to that more perfect union than we are right now. So what do we got to do? One answer, and it's not mine, it's an answer that all of us need to resonate with, comes from Dr. King. It's only a few days ago that we commemorated him, and some dared to misuse his words in the interest of their assaults on our democracy. But Dr. King, in a setting, was asked the same question, and his answer, and I don't have the exact words, but they were, we've got to educate, we've got to legislate, and where necessary, we've got to agitate. And so today, just like way back in the first of those slave revolts, better language, revolts of enslaved people, down to today, we have to figure out how we create change.
Well, I love change. I love the fact that but you've been a change agent, and you've been a whisperer of visions and young women at Spelman. You've been a whisperer at NCNW. Um, the echo of your whispers are seen as women move to higher heights. How do you want us to continue, as you think about it, whispering? And what are you saying when you talk to those young women and they're sitting in front of you and you're giving them personal counsel um, to be their best?
Mm, mm. I am not the best at technology. I mean, ask my brother, Johannes, but I'm on social media enough to know this. There is an expression that Black women are saying right now. And I'm saying it to the sisters that I have the honor and the joy of mentoring. I'm saying it to my NCNW sisters with whom I am in the constant struggle. I'm saying it to Black women across our world. Here it is. Someone said to a Black woman, "You can't weather the storm." The Black woman said, "I am the storm." Nothing, in my view, is more critical to social justice activism than owning your power. Owning your power. I think I would also add, and remembering to never abuse it. But it's when we own our ability to be change agents. That's the first step. Now, I'm thinking of that legendary leader who founded the National Council of Negro Women. She also was a co-founder of UNCF. Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. Oh, and let me add one more. She was the only woman of color at the signing of the United Nations Charter. Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune said, "Without faith, nothing is possible. With faith, nothing is impossible." Now, I am a woman of faith. I am a Christian, trying to be a better one. It ain't easy in these days. But whatever faith one has, and even if one doesn't center that in religious practice, you've got to have a belief. You got to have a belief in something other than yourself. You've got to have a belief about how this world could be better. And if you can believe that, then you're on the first rung of that long, long staircase toward change. Dr. King said something very similar to this. You know, he said, you've got to have faith when you're on the first step, even when you can't see the rest of the staircase. And given the times that we're in now, with this despicable assault on our democracy, this isn't a partisan statement. This is a statement of fact. When you attack the right of people to vote in America, when you engage in voter suppression, you are attacking American democracy.
I love that. But there are key factors that you've observed. Why become an anthropologist? I mean, here it is. Why anthropology? You know, when I would see that, I mean, and here's this woman who not only is statuesque, beautiful, natural hair before natural hair was even close to being popular, regal in every sense of queen and angelic creation has ever happened on earth. She steps out and demonstrates to young women who are matriculating, going to corporate America, that this is a look that you can bear. That's you. Why courageously did you assume that mask for society to see in a distinguished character like yourself?
Mm. Well, my grandfather asked me the same question. When I came home from college and did what a young woman did back in that day, went to pay respects to her folks. And so I went to see Papa. And he said, baby girl, tell me what you're gonna do. When are you gonna come into the company? My family, really my great-grandfather, Abraham Lincoln Lewis, with 6 other Black men, had founded the Afro-American Life Insurance Company in 1901. And I looked at James Henry Lewis and I said, Papa, I'm not gonna come into the family company. I'm gonna be an anthropologist. He said, baby girl, what's that? And I said, well, Papa, you know, it's like what Margaret Mead does. I'm gonna go to different parts of the world and understand people's cultures and write about it. And he started laughing. He said, baby girl, how you gonna make a living doing that? I was so hurt. But somehow I knew I had to get through the rest of that time with Papa. And then I found my mother. And I just broke down and I said, you won't believe what Papa did. This is what he said. And my mother looked at me and Mary Frances Lewis Bed said, first of all, I am disappointed in you that you went into that situation and assumed that your grandfather knew what an anthropologist would be. Secondly, she said, you know, a woman needs to know how she's going to make a living. And you're talking all of this, what do you call it? I said, Mom, you mean feminism? She said, yes. She said, well, a part of that better be, how are you going to make sure that you can contribute to your own well-being? And then finally, she said, but if anthropology is your passion, you better pursue it. Because if passion isn't a part of your work, you have no possibility to do it well. So I've never regretted becoming an anthropologist. It's like, I may have shared this when we've had another talk, but it's like having a pair of lenses, a pair of glasses through which you see the world. And if those glasses are the lenses of anthropology, you see the incredible diversity in the human race. But you also see the similarities. And then that leads you to the question, how could some deny the beauty, the essentialness of diversity? And so from there, it is an easy road for me to get into social activism.
Being a social activist, being a call, having led institutions that never imagined that Black women in this society would do what you've done. What would you say to all of us in the Black community about how much we should remain in the movement and why?
Oh, if we could just find a way to inspire more of us to be in this movement. But let me, before we go there, say, but our numbers keep a coming. You probably know that line in a poem of Sterling Brown about the Black men, and they just keep a coming. And I can say, and Black women, they just keep a coming. And out of so many marginalized communities of indigenous people, of Latinx people, of people of various Asian descents, they just keep a coming. Out of the LGBT community, they keep a coming. And by different means, having to use different contraptions from the disabled community, they keep a coming. And I could continue in terms of diverse religious groups, different age groups, but it's still not enough. And so the responsibility of those of us in the movement is to inspire others. Come on, come on, join us. Join what is in your interest. Join a movement that has something directly to say about how your children are educated, that is connected to your health care, that says a whole lot about what zip code you're in and which one you deserve to be in. Join a movement that has as its promise a whole lot more justice than we have got right now. So to me, it is a movement where so many different kinds of people can play a role. Just the other day, I was thinking about artists. And you know, those years I spent as the director of the Smithsonian's National Museum of African Art. And I was thinking about the movement, and I was thinking about artists as I was reading these words of Toni Cade Bambara. My Black sister said, the role of the artist is to make the revolution irresistible. And that's what artists have done in our communities. That's what James Baldwin did. That's what Audre Lorde did. That's what Shirley Chisholm did. That's what John Lewis did. That's what Fannie Lou Hamer did. Watch how I skip from artist to activist, because the line should be so thin. We've all got to understand that the revolution, all I mean by that, is nonviolent social change. It's got to become irresistible.
You participated in the education process. Why should we ignite in ourselves and in our children the pursuit of not degree, but at least the understanding and intellectual capacity inside ourselves to be scholarly as we approach life?
I don't know what you eat regularly, but whatever it is, keep eating it, because it inspires these questions that I just love. Yeah. Education is clearly, in my view, the most fundamental process that every human being has the right to engage in and has the responsibility to pursue. And I so love the way you said, we're not just talking about going to get a degree. We're talking about being educated. A book that I recently published, it's called, the title is Racism in American Public Life, A Call to Action. I dedicated that book to my brother, my blood brother, only one I got, John Betch. Extraordinary, I would even say master of avant-garde drumming and Black improvisational music. I dedicated that book to John Thomas Betts Jr. and I said, this book is dedicated to my brother whose love of books, of art, of music, his love is a tribute to the importance of a liberal arts education. My brother never got a college degree. But at Fisk, where he went for a while, in and around UMass, where he was with some of the greatest musicians like Max Roach and Archie Shepp, around poets like Sonia Sanchez, he got that education. Yes, I would love for any and everybody who wants a college degree to get it. But I also want those who get a college degree to understand that understanding the world, which is what they tell you you do when you get a college degree, is the first step. Helping to change the world is the second and most important step. And all of us can go back in our families to grandmas and grandpas. I just finished talking about Papa, who had wisdom, even though they didn't have those college degrees. My great-grandfather, Abraham Lincoln Lewis, only had an elementary school education. But he decided he would learn about the world and ended up with those other Black men founding the Afro-American Life Insurance Company. And in 1935, money from the Afro-American Life Insurance Company Pension Bureau was used to buy a beach community called American Beach, because he said Black people need recreation without humiliation. That's the beach community where my husband and I are finishing the building of our home. So that's a long way to say, of course, education is central, but you got to do something with it. Because if you don't, why did you get it?
The land, home ownership, really we're currently not any further than we were in the 60s. You mentioned home ownership and land ownership by your grandfather. Why, just historically, should we understand that we have to own the land and the real estate and not sell off grandma's and grandpa's land for quick dollars and then to be back renting our existence from others? What do you say, and what did our grandparents and great-grandparents know about owning the land, in particular, this country, America?
I think from those days when our people were literally put in metal chains, and sent across the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, in that Middle Passage, they had to be thinking about the land that they were forced to leave. Because across that continent of Africa, with all of its diversity, in almost every way, there was some notion before European invasion and imperialism that the land was the people's land. I'm just thinking of that incredible saying. You could hear it all over Africa, especially back in the days when the push was so severe and appropriate to regain the land. And the saying went like this: when the Europeans came, we had the land. They had the Bible. Now we've got the Bible and they've got the land. And so we came through that wretched experience of enslavement, knowing what it was to have no land. And to have the other thing that we had, our labor, taken as well. That's what enslavement meant. You have no land and your labor does not belong to you. And thirdly, neither does your body. And so over the course of our history and her story, the land has continued to be stolen from us. When we saved our little teeny bits of money and could buy something, somehow somebody came and took it from us. And then came the period when we said back in the day, this is not urban renewal, this is Negro removal. Now we have different language. We talk about gentrification. We look at a place like Harlem, but look anywhere in our country. And Black people have such a severe, disproportionate amount of land that we own, of income that we receive, and of rights that we deserve. And so sometime in the history of this world, this has got to be fixed.
Lastly, I think about our temples and our health and our eating. And obviously there's a disparity that exists. But what say you to we and future generations? How should we and what should we do? And I know the NCNW has a program about health right now. Mm-hmm. Why should health be our number one priority as we as a people reset during a pandemic?
As I sit here in this truly wonderful conversation with you, my brother,
thank you.
I am sitting here getting supplemental oxygen. If I ever thought health was important, oh, do I think it now? And among the very important accomplishments of NCNW is focusing on our physical and mental, emotional, and yes, spiritual health. We got to have all three. Our physical, our emotional, and our spiritual health. I'm so proud of NCNW's work in this last period of time. In terms of our physical health, just one thing to lift up, our Good Health Wins program, where we are with a CDC grant going all over our country to help our people and Latinx folk get the right information about this vaccination question. NCNW has launched a meditation program, webinars. We wouldn't dare minimize prayer. But we also say there are other ways to center yourself in addition to your prayer. And then thirdly, of course, NCNW itself remains spiritually grounded. Somebody said it. There is no greater wealth than your health. And then I'm going to leave you with these words that are on a pillow. Some dear friends sent it to me when I was just coming out of my 3 weeks in a hospital, an incredible struggle because of pneumonia. And the pillow says this, they're the words of Audre Lorde. Self-care is not self-indulgence. Self-care is self-protection. We need to protect ourselves so we can get in, or if we're in, stay in the movement.
Well, thank you so much. You know, I love you, love you, love you, love you, love you.
Love you back.
I had to see you. You know, don't go away, rolling out. You always have a home here. You know that. But Munson Steve clearly loves you for all you continue to give. An example of what it is to truly know somebody that gave me courage when I didn't have any, gave me the ability to want to read at least one more word and make a difference for all the moments that I have too. So thank you for the sister with superpower, the best of a generation. Dr. Johnnetta Cole, we love you. And if you don't hear it, now you've heard it. We love you, love you, love you, love you, love you, love you.
Oh, my Mohouse, bro. Love you back.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. You've seen it. Pass it, share it with a friend, the best of a generation, a sister with superpowers, one that we truly love, a gift to the world, Dr. Johnnetta Cole. Peace.